Hello and a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. And welcome to today's Postgrad Insights session brought to you today by Postgrad Solutions. Today we are joined by the University of Essex Online, who are going to be talking about their Computing Online program. Now, it's a fantastic opportunity for all those looking to perhaps be a bit more flexible given their circumstances and study online, or perhaps you're not ready to make a move for an international student to somewhere, another country or somewhere else around the world. So this presents a great opportunity, and I'm sure you'll find this really informative. There is a chat facility at the bottom. If you have any questions, please use that, or the Q&A facility also, which we will go through a Q&A session later on in the session. We are joined today by Program Director and Admissions Officer as well. But for now, I'm going to hand you over to Sammy, who's going to take you through the next few minutes, introduce you to the other members of staff. I'll be back for the Q&A towards the end. If there's any problems, let us know. Over to you, Sammy.
Thank you, Gareth. Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name's Sammy Caglian. I'm a marketing executive with the University of Essex Online. I'm just going to quickly introduce to you the speakers and today's agenda, and then we'll make a start. So joining us today are Sharon Sibanda, who is Head of Computing, and also Freya Hyde, who is an Admissions Advisor. So onto the agenda for today, I'll kick things off shortly by introducing to you the University of Essex Online, as well as going through the online postgraduate computing degrees that we offer here. Freya will also be there to talk us through the admissions and enrolment process. We're also going to have a Q&A session at the end, so do feel free to drop in any of your burning questions, and then we'll pick these up and review them at the end. So first of all, why should you study with us? So you begin a recognised qualification from a university that is ranked within the top 25 of universities in the United Kingdom. So we're right up there in terms of the top ranked universities. There's a great emphasis on the classroom experience with the experienced academics who bring real world perspectives such as working environments. We also have programs that focus upon employability, equipping students with sector-specific skills, as well as optional modules to allow you to tailor the course to your own specialism. And we're also delighted to mention that the University of Essex Online has recently been rated gold in the Times Higher Education Online Learning Rankings Award for 2024, which furthermore reflects the university's excellence in delivering higher online education. Furthermore, we are also rated silver in the Teaching Excellence Framework. So we offer an interactive learning platform that is available to students on a 24/7 basis from anywhere in the world. We also have a cohort of tutors who are ensured that they are quick to respond to student emails and inquiries. There are also opportunities for one-to-one sessions with tutors and live Q&A sessions and seminars as well. All our programs are 100% online and part-time to fit around your own lifestyle. There is no in-person attendance required at all. However, you can attend graduation at our magnificent University of Essex Colchester campus. So I'll now pass over to Sharon, who is going to talk us through the postgraduate computing courses that we offer here at Essex Online. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sammy. Well, welcome everyone. So I'm going to be talking to you about all the postgraduate computing courses at the University of Essex Online. We have 5 different programs and they are listed on the slide that you're seeing there. These are really the 5 main areas that are important, I think, to develop skills in when it comes to computing. So diving straight in, I'd like us to start off with the MSc in Information Technology Management. Moving on to the next slide. So our next intake, as you can see there, is on the 7th of October. So starting off with the Information Technology Management course, this course is really trying to develop your skills in understanding the enterprise as a whole, how technologies are brought together with that holistic approach, which is quite important. And some of the ideas underpinning that particular area are around IT security and management. It's a really rapidly growing field in the sense that organizations now, whether you are a small business, a medium-sized enterprise, or even a large organization, you're interested in actually aligning all of the technologies that are used in the organization so that there is a kind of seamless integration to them, rather than having issues because of not looking at that holistic picture. So it's the overarching picture that you're looking to actually understand and be able to integrate. And one of the more interesting modules, actually, going on to the next slide, which is part of this program, is the one on cloud solutions. So if we move on to the next slide. So you can see that the modules that are taught are very interesting in terms of their depth and the breadth. There's a start, or the first module, should I say, is the launch into computing, which is actually a shared module across all of our postgraduate master's programs. But the one in particular I wanted to discuss in relation to information technology management is cloud operations and management. So that's a very interesting module in the sense that it's looking at understanding how cloud technologies are actually used in an organization, how they can be used to add value to what the organization is looking to achieve. And when you're focusing on that from the information technology management perspective, it's important to understand that that particular module can help to underpin the whole strategy that the organization is looking to implement when it comes to information technology management. And then from there, you can then have other technologies branching off from that. So cloud operations and management are really a key module in this program. We also have information technology service management that you can see there. And we also have enterprise IT project management. It's still important to understand exactly how to manage projects which are around the infrastructure, the enterprise as a whole, to ensure that there is the sensible change management, the understanding of how people are the ones that are driving the process rather than just the technology. So some really interesting and important modules in this program. Like all our programs, this is a 2-year part-time, 100% online program, and it ends with a module on research methods and the computing project. The computing project, of course, allows you to then focus on an area that you might want to develop or use to perhaps jumpstart your career, move on to the next stage, showcase your learning from the past 2 years, and see how you can add value to your setting, be that in a profit organization or a non-profit organization. It can all be quite useful. Moving on to the next postgraduate program on the next slide, and that is our MSc in computer science. So with computer science, you're looking at exploring really current developments, the use of the latest software in terms of architecture, development, secure software development, developing your practical skills, maybe a deeper dive into approaches to implementation and how those can actually be applied in a business setting. And let's have a look at some of the modules that you might actually look at. So go on to the next slide. You can see that you have advanced object-oriented design and programming. That's another of our shared modules between computer science and cybersecurity. And here you're really looking at object-oriented programming in depth. You're looking at design patterns and how those can be used to actually leverage and harness what you're trying to achieve with any application that's developed, and also looking at the future, how to maintain the code, how to ensure that there isn't any kind of technical debt that's being developed over time. So a really useful module there. These modules and some of our other modules are beginning to look at the use of generative AI and how that could be useful from a programming perspective. You'll be looking at developing your understanding and your skills with regard to perhaps using technologies like GitHub Copilot. And so these are some of the technologies that you might be looking forward to developing your understanding on further. In this program, you also have modules such as network security, really important to understand how you can develop a network to ensure that there is that security, the understanding around vulnerability, testing, etc. So it's a short module. It's 10 credits, that particular module, but it still packs a punch in terms of what it has in store in terms of developing your skills in that area. Moving on to our next program, we've got cybersecurity. So for cybersecurity, you're looking at understanding not only the development lifecycle, but how to take a secure approach to everything. The human factor is something else that's quite interesting in cybersecurity, and digital forensics in particular is an area of great interest for many students. Looking at the actual modules that are taught, shown on the next slide, we have modules such as the digital forensics and cyber law module. So that's a really interesting module, and digital forensics in itself is a growing area because of the world that we live in now, and understanding how you can actually interrogate and understand the data that's generated, the analytics that you can do around how the footprints around what users have been actually accessing and how you can utilize that to secure systems is quite important. So that's a really interesting module. We've got security and risk management as well. So when thinking about cybersecurity, an organization does need to consider how to manage risk in an appropriate manner. And this module dives into the approaches that you would take to do that. There are some really practical examples of how that could be approached. And so it's another module that I think would be of great interest to those of you who are looking to get into cybersecurity. There is a kind of cross-discipline nature to quite a few of our modules, and that's because of how technology is developing in this day and age. So the Launch into Computing module, as I said, is one of our core modules, looks to develop those cross-discipline links where even though you may not be necessarily interested in cybersecurity, there's a cybersecurity element that could be part of your role or the role that you'd want to get into. So it's important to have a kind of understanding of that area. And of course, then you would deep dive into it at a later date. Moving on to the next postgraduate course, we've got the data science program. The data science program is like all of our degrees, is a conversion degree, which is looking to develop your understanding of the data cycle, your understanding of how to apply technologies to data. It's not always only just looking at big data, by the way. It can be just understanding the data that you have as an organization at the moment, being able to be to use data as an asset rather than maybe not using it at all. Understanding how you could perhaps automate some of the routines that are quite manual and are error prone. And so this particular program is looking at focusing on data. Big data is quite important in business and in society. So that is also another element to this program. So let's have a look at the modules that are here. We've got modules such as machine learning. It's a very popular module where you would look at not only understanding the various approaches to machine learning, but in this day and age, some of the softwares that you can encounter already have machine learning algorithms installed, and it's a bit of a click and use. However, the underlying understanding of how to apply them, how they work, and not only that, but some of the assumptions that you would need to be aware of before you actually implement them. Even thinking about the evaluation metrics of comparing the output of these algorithms is quite important. So machine learning, this module looks into that in quite a bit of depth. So not only the understanding of the algorithm, but how to evaluate it, the metrics that you would want to kind of use to ensure that you are clear about how effective that algorithm is with the use case that you're interested in pursuing and developing. It's very interesting that, of course, with machine learning and other programs that I'll speak about in a minute, there's a kind of crossover there. So you would be delving into applications of machine learning in various industries as well, and looking at how that actually differs from industry to industry. Deciphering big data is another module that is looking at big data technologies in particular, the approaches to big data and how organizations might want to consider the way that they approach this problem, and how to, of course, get to understanding whether it's the technologies that you're trying to use, how to store the data, how to integrate the data better. Are you perhaps using third parties quite a bit, and you need to understand how to come up with a common language to utilize? Those are some of the aspects that you'd be wanting to develop with the modules that you see here. Visualizing data is another module that's fairly interesting, because here we all know that a picture kind of speaks 1,000 words, as it were. But with this module in particular, you're getting a lot of insight as to exactly how that differs, and what story you're trying to tell, how you can tell a story with data, and how you can tell the story with the assumptions, of course, so that the right conclusions and the right business decisions can be made based on that information. So the efficacy of what you're trying to convey is quite important. Understanding statistics, understanding what statistical power is all about, how you can actually conduct hypothesis testing, how you can use complex machine learning as well to achieve perhaps similar things. This is all quite important, and data science helps you to develop all those skills so that you can actually apply them in business settings. So I'll move on to our next program, which is AI. When we are talking about AI, we're not just talking about generative AI, which tends to be the aspect that a lot of people are kind of interested in. Artificial intelligence has a lot of other areas to it, which includes robotics, for example. And so this module is looking to give you those fundamental concepts around agents, as it were, and what that means, and how you can then utilize your understanding of agents, or your understanding of generative AI, as it were, to then develop different kinds of applications. You're also looking at approaching your skills. So maybe you haven't had any exposure into the kinds of technologies that are out there, which are AI driven. So this would be a module and a program that will be looking to develop that side of your understanding as well. So we're always looking to develop not only your knowledge with your critical discussion, your critical analysis, your understanding of why and how you're making the choices rather than just making a choice, but also the technical ability that comes with that, and the technical knowledge that comes with that. Our courses are actually probably what you would describe as 50% technical and 50% theoretical. And so that balance is important, because it helps to actually bring alive the theoretical concepts by then applying them in a practical sense. Now, we're accredited by the BCS, so it's quite important that we maintain that. And what that does mean is that you have practical elements to almost every assignment, which is quite important. So you will be asked to develop and to code quite a lot. So your programming skills will need to be brushed up on. But we do have a lot of facilities that can help you with that. So we have a hub that we include some helpful guidance, and your tutors who are very, very experienced industry experts with distinguished careers. They're really enthusiastic about helping you. Not only do you have regular seminars, so you'd have about seminars every other week or so, every couple of weeks. You also have drop-in sessions that you can organize with your tutor, your weekly drop-in sessions, where you can talk to your tutor about some of the challenges, or some of the clarifications that you require. So moving on to the modules for artificial intelligence. As I said earlier, intelligent agents is one of those modules where you are looking at understanding what an agent is, what the technologies are, and exactly how that actually underpins many of the technologies that we see now. The understanding of the history of generative AI and the future of where things are going as well, the current trends that are out there, looking at personalization, application of AI for a small, medium-sized enterprise might be different to a bigger organization, your entry point into this field as well. All of those things will be kind of looked at as part of the modules that you see here. The project, as I've said, is a very important part of your program or any of these postgraduate programs. It gives you an opportunity to now really look at advancing your skills, developing your skills. So you might decide, for example, that you want to develop, let's say, a chatbot, and you want to explore various kinds of technologies. That's something that you can actually take on as a task in your project, having developed the skills during your time on the course. I think that will be the last one. So I am going to pass over to my colleague Freya, who will take us through the admissions process. Thank you for listening.
Hi there, I'm Freya. I'm one of the dedicated admission advisors through the admissions team, that will assist with any queries regarding the admission process. So firstly, the admission process is quite straightforward in regards to the first sort of steps. So most of our students interested in our courses do request a web brochure from us firstly, which enables you to inquire about a course if you have any questions before submitting an application. So during that process, we will receive this, and one of our admissions advisors during the admissions team will reach out to you via email, and we'll call you as well. And we will leave you some information regarding just general information regarding the course, as well as the how to apply, and via our website link to apply. So just to note that we don't operate through UCAS. So applying online is just via the online website. So that's online.essex.ac.uk. Once we've received an application from you and we've received all your documents with this, we'll send it over to our academic team and admission staff for review. Usually we'll get back to you within a few days' time regarding an outcome, and we'll either email or call you to confirm that for you. Once we have that and we've also received your desired payment method, we'll send over a offer letter which includes the payment plan and study planner for your desired study. So for example, if you're studying a master's program, you'll receive a study planner for 2 years. So if you could just move over to the next slide, which will detail the next steps. So in regards to entry requirements for any of the postgraduate programs that we've looked over today, we do offer 2 routes available. So for students who have an undergraduate degree, that can be a bachelor's degree or UK honours, or equivalent in a international standard instead, and that could be in any subject as well as any grade, as long as you've passed the qualification. Once our academic team have received that and look over that during the review process, which we mentioned previously, we would get back to you with a decision. Alternative, you don't have any academic qualifications, there is a work experience route, which we would review with your application with your CV, which is your experience to date. If you're an international student outside of English-speaking countries such as the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and the US, you would be required to complete our in-house English test. Alternative, you do have a IELTS score, which is within the last 2 years. You can use that instead to be exempt from the English language requirements. So next, regarding the next steps, if you can move over to the next slide. So for the fees for the programs for postgraduate, these do highlight different fees for depending where you're currently residing in. So for the postgraduate certificate, as you can see here, that's a cost of £4,286. That's for UK-based students living currently in the UK, whereas the certificate for international students, so that's any students outside of the UK, is the £4,476. As well as you can see here below with the postgraduate diploma, with the different course fees, as well as the masters as well. So as mentioned below as well, all of our fees are reviewed annually, and this is for the next academic year. So that runs from now currently up until July 2026. And if we could just move over to the next slide. So the fees that we just mentioned previously, we do offer several payment methods. So firstly, for UK-based students, you can choose to apply for a loan for the master's programs, in which case you would just need to pay the first installment yourself, and then the student loan will be sent over to you directly from Student Finance England to cover the remaining installments. Alternatively, for self-funded options, you can pay via full amount up front, which you receive a 5% discount as highlighted on the points listed. Alternatively, you can pay via monthly installments instead, which we would highlight. Either these outcomes we can highlight with your payment plan, which was sent with your offer letter. So if you're a student of the University of Essex previously on campus with undergraduate, and moving to postgraduate. The same for if you've studied with us, University of Essex Online previously for undergraduate courses, you'd be eligible for the 10% alumni discount as mentioned there. Other students outside of the UK may be eligible for the enhanced regional scholarship of up to 20%. We do also offer 10% scholarships as well for students reside outside of those regional countries as well. So it does depend where you're currently residing in, but once you received your application or during the inquiry stage of your application or other, we would tell you on the amount of scholarship you would be eligible for, if any. You can only use the scholarships mentioned there in combination with the 5% upfront discount. So that would just be the 10% and then the 5%. You wouldn't be able to use the alumni as well as the scholarship. So it just does depend on what you would be eligible for, and also which your payment method that you've chosen. So either the full amount upfront, that is the full amount. So if you're studying a master's program, for example, that runs for 2 years, rather than so you would be the full amount rather than just annual payments. So we don't offer annual payments or termly payments, so it would just be those two, or the postgraduate student loan instead for UK students. So if you could move over to the next slide as well. So the application process as well is just to as mentioned with the course inquiries, we would send you a link to our application form as well as the documents required. But if you do just apply directly rather than just inquiring with us via our website, which you can see there, you can just send over a 300 to 500 word personal statement. This is just on why you've wished to join the course and why have you chosen our university. It just enables us to review us to see if you've just chosen the right course, and if you have any kind of second thoughts on which application that you're looking to study. We'd also next need a form of photo ID, so that can be either your up-to-date driving license or passport, or a government ID instead, as long as it does list your a clear photo of yourself along with a valid date and expiry date, as well as a as your clear information as well. So it can just be either a passport or a driving license. Regarding the certificates, so as mentioned previously, you would just need to showcase against the entry requirements. So for any international students or UK students who have studied outside of these countries, they do need to be translated in English for our academic team to review properly. And then also we would just need your up-to-date CV as well. So if you're applying for work experience, or if you are still with the academic route, we would need your CV either way as part of the application process. So you can just send that, all those documents along with your application. If we are missing anything during the application stage, one of my colleagues here at the admissions team would send you a follow-up email from your application, just with what we require additionally from you. And again, you can just apply via the website online via that link mentioned on the image there. If we could go to the next slide. So that's it from me. So if you do have any further questions now, do let us know, and I'll just pass you back over to my colleagues.
Thank you, Freya. I really appreciate that. I'll let you take a breather because you had the last 10 minutes. Sharon, can I invite you back on at this point? I think we're going to perhaps touch upon the computing department first and the online offering. One of the things that strikes me most about Kaplan Online Learning is, I think last year, it might have been the year before, correct me if I'm wrong, you actually got rated gold for your online learning. What does that actually look like for a student? Because there'll be many students that will be worried about studying online because they might lose that aspect of that personal touch, perhaps, or wanting to learn more in a one-on-one approach. Talk to me about how an average week looks like for a student.
That's a really good question, Gareth. So thinking about that, we've got a great virtual learning environment, which is kind of the main communication that is used between the tutor and the student. So a learner would join a module, and their first week, let's just say, they would be getting all of the content for the module. They'd get a seminar within that first week or two, where they would get so a seminar is basically an hour up to 90 minutes perhaps of face-to-face online face-to-face time with their tutor, where they are discussing the assessments for that module, because it's always good to know where you're going to end up at the very beginning, and then also introducing the rest of that module to the learner, understanding the learning outcomes, the goals, and, as I say, the assessments. There would be materials such as text. There would be lecture casts that are kind of a mix of videos, audio, and text, which give the students information about that topic. So there are lecture casts that are spread out throughout the module. There would be an opportunity to meet the tutor separately on a one-to-one if required. And there would also be quizzes, formative tasks where you can engage in maybe a coding task. Maybe you'd be asked to go through some material and maybe answer questions, do a bit of reflection, and think about how you might develop your skills in that week. So quite a bit of material that you'd be asked to kind of look through. We suggest that you spend about 10 to 16 to 20 hours on the material for the module per week, as you get to understand what you need to do. There's readings that you might want to get into. So there's a comprehensive reading list. We have a great library that you would be able to access lots of online material, and that actually includes video material as well, which is great. So if I think of for computing, IEEE, for example, you'd have access to that library. These are computer science related, the ACM library, and Safari as well. And these days, many of us learn via not only just text, but video. Everything is accessible as well, which is quite useful. So that will be kind of be how the week might be structured, where you give yourself some time to go through all of those materials, attend a seminar if there's a seminar that's running on that week, or book a slot with your tutor if you want to discuss something one-to-one.
And I think it's important to point out also, and whilst I'm not taking anything away at all from on-campus learning, a lot of the modules and learning on campuses now are done in this way, aren't they? They're very much hybrid,
Yeah.
flexible learning. So actually, don't, if you're a student sat at home thinking, is online learning for me? Do my circumstances dictate? Am I going to be able to sit there all day? And you don't need to sit there all day. It's a very flexible opportunity. This will fit in around your circumstances. So I think that's really important to point out. A follow-up question that I would have to that, Sharon, would
Yeah,
be the evolving nature, and it's a contentious issue,
yeah,
evolving nature of AI. And
yeah.
I won't mention the platforms, but we all know the platforms that we're talking about. Um, how important is it for a student, not only when applying, because I think that's a whole different story, but when they are actually learning and taking part in their studies, that it's true from within themselves and they're using AI as a guide rather than their actual education?
Yeah, absolutely. So in computer science, there's two parts to this, but the first part in general, you're quite right. For any of the tasks that we're talking about, like formative tasks where you're getting to understand what you need to do, you're being given practice exercises before the formative tasks. This is where you can use generative AI to actually guide you, help you with formulating ideas, perhaps clarifying certain questions or issues or ideas. That's absolutely fine. When it comes to the formal assessment, the summative assessment, your assignment, which gives you your grade for your module, which counts towards your final degree, at that point, every assignment has its own guidelines. But in general, you're not allowed to use AI in that environment unless if it specifically mentions that within that assignment guidance. So it's really clear that we want learners to actually engage with those tools. They are excellent. There's some really, really good ways of developing your knowledge as well by the use of AI. And it helps to, of course, save time. It helps with the generation of ideas so much. And as I mentioned, for computer science, GitHub Copilot is an important tool that is actually used out in industry anyway. So you're absolutely supposed to be using AI in that sense. But when it comes to the summative assessment, it's important that we understand what you know. And actually, critical discussion is not something that AI can tell you. AI can only regurgitate what it understands from the world, but it cannot critically discuss and critically analyze something for you. That should come from your own experience and your own perceptions and your own perspectives. So we do encourage students to look at it from that perspective. Use the technology, but don't be over reliant on that technology like anything else.
All right, can I bring you in at this point? Because I think that's quite a key topic, especially when it comes from an admissions viewpoint as well. We've all been there, we've all seen it, and actually, when we were all probably going to university, we probably didn't have that luxury of having an AI template, or whether it be Copilot, like Sharon's just mentioned. How important is it to ensure that when a student is applying for a program or a course, whether it be Kaplan Online, whether it be any other program around the world, that they are being true to themselves, that it's a fair representation of themselves, and ultimately it's very transparent when somebody isn't kind of replicating who they are, instead it's replicating a bot or a robot.
Yeah, so we do during the application stage for the computing courses do offer the aptitude test, which just enables us to see where students are at in terms of computing software and knowledge. It's not marked per se in what you would be against the entry requirements. It would just enable us for when we do send this over, if you were enrolled per se, just for our then student support team following enrollment, just to provide any support there where needed. That also moves on to like the parcel statement and any documents required and stuff. Just to outline as well, for many students who do move to our courses, a lot of our students are changing career paths and such as well. So you wouldn't need a previous degree in computing to be eligible. It can be, as I mentioned before, I believe, you can just apply, for example, with a arts degree. If it's a UK honours, as many of our students do choose the computing, especially with the new popularity with this kind of career path at the moment. So many of our students do choose to change into computing or to improve on their existing knowledge and such that they can implement, say, in the business sector, for example. So because of how important a lot of the computing courses at the moment in terms of how the world is working at the moment, I think it's very important that to highlight that a lot of our students do choose to change career paths or expand on the knowledge that they do, and they don't need to have exact qualifications in computing in order to apply in the first place, but just to ensure that you are being, as you've mentioned, true to yourself when applying, that you've highlight that in your application and documents, just so that we can provide any support at the start of your application and enrollment during the induction period as well, to provide that level of support.
Okay, and how long does that process take from start to finish? There'll be many students, myself included when I was there, very impatient. They put forward their application, they demand, expect, and somewhat unfairly a response within like that day almost sometimes. How long does the process take from application stage to finding out whether you've been admitted onto the program or course, whatever they're deciding to study at Kaplan?
Yeah, of course. So for students who say, if you were to apply today, for example, once we receive your application, if we've received everything from you, so we'll either contact you to be in touch with you if you've missed any documents that we've mentioned previously, such as your CV, for example. We'll be in touch via email, or we can call you as well, or advisor will do either. So do look out for your junk mail as well in suppose of that. So, but if we've received everything from you during the application process, generally we'll be getting back in touch with you, as you've mentioned, within the next day at the latest. We aim to get back to you within 1 to 2 business days. So if you didn't hear from us from that day, it would be the next day as well. And then after that, if we've heard back from you that you are happy to proceed, or if you're worried about any kind of requirements, or you have any questions, don't feel afraid to ask those questions during the application process as well. But once we've reviewed your process, your application, sorry, by the academic team, we'll be in touch secondly after that to send you your offer, which includes the next steps, such as our acceptance form, which is during the offer letter, and then also the payment as well. So that can follow over to the upfront payment, the monthly installments, or as I highlighted before, just the postgraduate student loan instead.
And just to touch upon the English language requirement as well, you mentioned earlier, and I thought it was a great slide actually, that mentioned if your English isn't up to scratch, obviously there's an IELTS requirement, but there's also a test. If they fail that test, is there help that you can provide and offer to the student and say, right, this is what we're going to do to help you get up to speed? Or is that on them to then come back and retake the test afterwards?
Yeah, so the English test that we offer, due to just our policy and such, that we do only allow, sorry, for one review process of the required test. So as mentioned, if you we do have a set policy with the score that you would need to achieve to proceed. That just because of all students needing to have a set level of English reading, writing, and English as well regarding that, just to proceed on to the next steps. It's just so that students who are interested and proceed to the enrollment stage, that they are familiar with all the materials, and they'll be able to catch up with the other students and such. But if they do not pass that, we do also offer the intensive English test. So if you do fail that, you can use that to proceed on to the next step. So that costs £2,000, but that can be removed from the total tuition fee of the master's degree, for example, that you would apply for. So if you are worried about the English level, you can do that, and then during that process we would send you a follow-up email with a link to that. If you did fail that English test, which is called KITE, from the previous test, the first test to complete. And also, alternatively, if you don't pass our English test, but you say go to IELTS, sorry, and then you complete that and you pass that with the required level, you can use that instead. Otherwise, if you don't want to do either, with the KITE English test that we offer during the application stage, if you do come back with us, say 6 months after, and you'd like to complete the test again, then we can offer that again for you for a second attempt.
Excellent. And apologies, they're very admissionsy types questions. I'm going to keep going with you if that's okay. There will be not just international students, but UK domestic students watching this also. That might feel like a lot of the presentation is always geared up towards international students because actually, when you think about it, UK students will know a lot of the information already, which is great. But there will be UK students that will be interested in this, no doubt. One of the questions we had come in actually was around if I'm from the UK, can I use the facilities on campus? So can I go to the University of Essex? You'd have to be London or perhaps East Coast anyway to go and visit the campus. Do you have access to the facilities such as the library, and the other like things such as graduation there? Is that an option?
Yeah, so the two areas that you've highlighted there, we do you are able to do that. So you would just need to, for the library, you just need to contact the campus beforehand and mention that you're a student with the University of Essex Online and you'd like to use the library there. So if you are accessible to the Essex campus, the Colchester campus, sorry, you can use that for any materials that you need or any additional reading information, and you just need to contact them previously and they'll allow this. You wouldn't be able to go sitting in classrooms, for example, because that's separate programs as well that the University of Essex on campus do offer. But after you've completed the program, along with our student support team, the graduation team will highlight the information regarding the actual graduation ceremony that we offer, which is held on the Colchester campus, which is the main campus of Essex on campus. Because we have an affiliation with them, you are invited to, all students are invited to attend for the master's degrees and the postgraduate programs to the graduation ceremony held in the UK. For any international students, we aren't able to help with any like travel advice and visas, etc. But you are obviously invited to attend. But if you're not able to attend or you don't wish to attend, the certificate that you would receive upon graduation can also be posted to you with your postal address that you've highlighted with your application.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out, a graduation is a big thing for a lot of people, but presumably there is something that you will do at the end of every program once it's finished and you've actually graduated online, that you'll all gather online and you'll perhaps talk through with the program director. We've got Sharon here as well, perhaps to kind of wonder what the next steps will be, and find out if they need any help. Is there a hand-holding situation post-graduation to get them into a job or some kind of career? Is that something that you guys offer as a career service?
Yeah, so because we are a online university and we do offer several courses around the world for in terms of career paths and such, and many students are studying in various different countries. We aren't able to support with career advice, unfortunately, and offering help with specific jobs or something in industry that you're looking to apply for exactly. Or we can mention that we're a recognised UK body for international study as well. You just need to check within what you're looking to achieve in terms of employment and career in the future. Our course website, our individual courses on our website do list, there's a Your Future tab, which highlights many of our students that what they move on to after completion. So you can kind of see what students will be looking to study in the future. So for example, computer science, if you're interested in web design, for example, that does kind of highlight that there as well. We do also offer several other functions that will be helpful, such as on our website is also ask a student. So you can ask a current student of a specific course how the course is going for them, so in terms of an education point of view. And if they're towards the end of their studies as well, you can also ask about the what they're looking to do after that as well. And that could also move on to the education point of view as well, to if they wanted to study a something higher than a master's as well in the UK, for example. The highest course that we do offer is a master's, so we don't offer any PhD courses, but it could that ask a student function can be helpful for other students who are looking to study if they are worried about any kind of entry requirements for other universities, for example. But unfortunately we just don't offer that level of hand-holding terms of employment, because it does depend on a lot of external factors such as if they're looking for any specifics with entry requirements for the job that they're applying for, and as it would be a different country, for example, for any international students, it just does depend on what they're looking for. But we can offer some advice I've listed on the website there, and also during the studies, the student support team, they're always to help any students for any questions during the whole duration of each program. So you can always ask your queries there. We may be able to provide some information on.
I think it's just taking the pros and the cons with online learning against campus-based learning, to be fair. Campus-based learning has huge expenses, as you know. There will be accommodation that you've got to factor in, there's the travel, it's the living expenses. Whereas online learning, you have got the flexibility to do the online learning when you wish, at the time you wish as well. At the same standing now as well. A question, and final question from me, would be the admission opportunities. Now, you've already alluded to an October intake date for this specific program. Are there further intakes throughout the year? And if so, when are they, or is it just the one?
Yeah, so we do offer several intakes throughout the year. We do generally offer them at the start of the year, such as January or February, and then we also offer a spring intake as well as summer, and then autumn as well. So we do offer those intakes available. Unfortunately, our team is still confirming the start dates for 2026, but they'll be released towards in the next few months towards the end of the year. So as mentioned, we do offer a intake. If you're not looking to study in October, we would offer an intake towards the start of the year. I can't release any specific information at the moment when that would be, but you can always, if you're looking to study in 2026 as early as you can. For example, if October is not suitable for you, you can apply now, and then we can keep your application on hold, and we can contact you when that's available. Otherwise, you can just choose to apply with us towards the end of the year as well, once we'll have those available. And just to highlight as well, if you do apply with us firstly, and we send you an offer, and then it turns out that you can't study for that specific intake, you can always contact your admissions advisor just to say, can we move this to the next intake available, for example. So during that offer stage, you can always move that over. But we do offer, as you mentioned, there's several entries throughout the year, so it wouldn't just be the October for 2026. We will have those start dates in a few months' time.
Excellent. Freya, thank you. I appreciate that's been a bit of a mastermind there, and I've really tested you. So thank you very much. I'll let you just take a breather, and I'm just going to take a couple of minutes just to point out a few facts to the people watching and on demand as well. So thank you for your time. I remind all of those that are looking to study with the University of Essex Online that it is a well-established organisation. It's been around for many years now. There are many universities across the UK that are offering online learning now, but they just simply haven't been around for as long and have the standing that the University of Essex Online, that the Kaplan offers online also. There will be many students applying for a Chevening and a Marshall scholarship to come to the UK that won't be eligible. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have opportunities. This is a great opportunity to come and study with a UK institution from your home without all the expenses that we've seen before. So if you are a Chevening scholar or look to become a Chevening scholar and your application has been unsuccessful, please head over to Kaplan or University of Essex Online and you can find out more information there. Sammy, Sharon and Freya, thank you for your time. Really appreciate that. If you are watching on demand today, please remember that it's not live. So you need to send your questions through to webinars@postgradsolutions.com or visit online.essex.ac.uk/contact us for more information. To those in the background and all those that made this happen, thank you very much. We look forward to hearing from you soon. The application dates for 2026 will be open very soon. Hopefully there will be a date announced. And everyone that has registered for this session, University of Essex Online has your details and will reach out. For now, a huge thank you. We look forward to seeing you on the next webinar that Essex run, whether that be next month in 2026. But for now, thank you. Take care and bye-bye.